became interested in tattoos probably at a very young age. I would see them on people and think, what is that? Initially, when I started getting them, I got really addicted to the way that they felt. And I feel like it's a really cool way to visually document your self-expression. I have always been an artist and kind of struggled with how to make that into a career with any kind of financial stability. And I mean, I was getting a lot of tattoos, but I one day was like, wow, that's pretty much the only, or one of the only avenues that you can go in and still be able to be an artist, but eventually make a living on it. It's one of the best careers there is. It is not as glamorous as it seems in terms of the time frame that it takes to be able to have it be your career. I didn't really make livable income on it until about like year 3 or 4. The first couple of years are really, really hard, and I would just definitely recommend doing a lot of research into the shop that you want to apprentice at so you can get a sense of what that shop's vibe is. And if you want to, commit to spending 60 to 70 hours a week there for multiple years. I had been tattooing for about 7 years, and I worked in a really big shop and I had set hours. I worked open to close 6 days a week, and I could just see that I was not falling out of love with tattooing, but it was becoming a burnout point where I knew that if I kept on that road, I would only be able to do it for a few more years and then I wouldn't want to do it anymore. And so the private studio helped me to really figure out a better type of schedule in terms of setting less appointments in the day and possibly even less days a week so that I could keep my passion for it alive. Working by myself in this studio has allowed me to have a lot of freedom to go do guest spots wherever and make friends with that shop, and I don't feel as much pigeonholed loyalty to like staying in my zone because I can just kind of do anything. Some of the pros to being in a big shop is there's a lot of artists around, and so there's a lot of people you can bounce your creativity off of, but I also feel like that can be distracting, and sometimes you don't necessarily want other people's input depending on what the advice is about. I think that being in a private studio, it can be lonely at times, and so I like to supplement it with the tattoo conventions and guest spotting and just doing events of different types with other shops so that I can maintain being inspired. But everyone has a different ideal shop environment because some people really like working with tons of other people. I found it kind of overwhelming as the years went by just because I do tend to be sensitive to other people's energy, and it's nice that when I can come in here, I don't have to cater to like anyone else's anything. I can just like do whatever I want and listen to whatever music I want and decorate it however I want and just focus on the customer rather than coworker type relationships. I also like a private studio. I think it's a different type of experience for the customer where it's not as potentially intimidating as really big shops with tons of people walking around. It's significantly less private, and I think that more of a personal, intimate experience getting tattooed by one person here, not having a bunch of eyes on you, makes a lot more people comfortable with such a vulnerable experience. I've always had an aesthetic in my art, like regardless of like tattoo art. It's been very illustrative, intricate, fine line, precision type stuff. So it's definitely lent itself tattoo-wise to the mandalas and geometry and patterns and tight little details. Definitely more of a black work feel than color. It's interesting because I do like painting with color, but I feel like just in terms of tattoo ink and longevity in skin, black lasts the longest and looks the freshest for the longest amount of time. And so I've tried to kind of gear the type of art that I make for tattoos to be something that is going to have that longevity and long-term readability. But I definitely like doing freehand stuff where it just kind of flows with the body. I pretty much like making tattoos that will make whatever body part they're getting tattooed look better. So sometimes it's, really long, flowing, swirling lines. Definitely intricate and illustrative adornments. I think the best part of my job is making people feel better about their bodies. It's really cool to see people's reactions after they get their tattoo, but also just how much it can mentally affect people in a positive way to accept themselves more. I think a lot of people have all different types of levels of body dysmorphia and self-hatred, and it's really nice to put a beautiful image on top of something that someone once looked at with judgment or dissatisfaction, and it can help people really accept themselves more, and it's exciting to be part of that process. I feel like tattooing, it's difficult to verbalize what it does for people. It gives you this armor that helps you just feel more confident in yourself and feel like you have some type of control over something. I think that there is a magic about tattooing that I'm still kind of figuring out, and I'm excited that I don't have to be done with that journey anytime soon, hopefully.